Well, good morning and welcome to Utah Valley University's second annual Sustainability Summit. We are excited to host and see so many people here. My name is Sarah Bateman. I am the new Sustainability Outreach Program Manager. Started in the fall, working part-time and soon to go full-time when I graduate with my master's in like 2.5 weeks. Thank you. I just wanted to start with a few thank yous. First, I would like to thank Frank Young, the Associate Vice President of Facilities and Planning, whose department is sponsoring this event so that it may be available for free for all of our guests. And I would also like to thank all of the UVU employees who are working this event, from setup to cleanup, to provide a welcoming gathering space where we can come and share our ideas. I would like to thank the UVU Sustainability Committee. This is a committee made up of students, faculty, and staff who volunteer their time on top of other university obligations and commitments. And I've just been really impressed with their dedication and their passion and their commitment to sustainability at UVU. I would like to especially thank the Summit Planning Committee. Dr. Hillary Hungerford, who isn't able to be here today, she launched the inaugural Sustainability Summit last year, and she and Dr. Thomas Bretz have long been sustainability leaders here at the university. And they have really brought an interdisciplinary energy to a dynamic academic experience in sustainability at the university and fostering these students that are coming through. One of those stellar students that was on our team is Tayler Fearn. She has been a tremendous asset to this planning committee. Yes, well deserved. And thank you to all of you for coming. Obviously, without your energy and your ideas and experience, the magic of human connection that is necessary for these conversations to move forward wouldn't even be able to happen. And I would like to thank President Tuminez for her support of sustainability, for recognizing the heritage and the future of sustainability leadership here at Utah Valley University, and for advocating for a greater opportunity to tell the university's sustainability story, a story that about the hardworking staff, faculty, and students that are really making an impact. So grateful for her. And with that, I will turn it over to President Tuminez, who will open this summit, and she will be followed by Tayler Fearn, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Hello. I don't like to stand behind podiums, so I will just stand here and say a few words this morning to welcome all of you. And thank you to my friend Sarah Bateman. I knew Sarah in Singapore, and she is also known as the goddess of sustainability in Utah County. So it's okay to worship her once in a while. So first thing I want to say is just thank you to all of you, to the leaders of sustainability here at UVU, to the student, staff, and faculty who made this possible. And I want to say we've come a long way, baby. Since my arrival in 2018, I remember we inaugurated the sustainability wall. It was quite static, and I hope that we've moved from that to a lot of different things, including wonderful things that I want to report happening here at UVU. So the second thing is we have made progress, and I won't read all of this, but let me just give you a few examples. This building that we're in is a high-performance building standard, HPSBS building. That's the equivalent of LEEDs, and we are building a new engineering building starting in June. It will be the same. So the new construction here at UVU is following the highest standards. When the Electron Solar project fully goes online, that's been, I think, delayed a little bit. We're one of the first institutions to sign up for that. And when that goes online, 93% of all our energy will be from sustainable sources, renewable sources, including, of course, geothermal, which is really big here at UVU. We're lucky that the ground below produces energy. We have reduced our irrigation here by 10% and hope to reduce it by more. We've gone from 120 million to 80 million gallons. And of course, we recycle water here from the little reservoir that you see out there. That's very pretty. That's where the ducks have returned now that it's spring. The Free UTA Pass, it's a UVU-BYU collaboration that's led to, before COVID, up to 1 million riders taking the bus. So people not driving their cars, housing, including the green on campus drive, that's taken away many hundreds, if not thousands of cars off the road. Our bridge across I-15, the bridge to somewhere, is used by about 1,023 students every day, just in the month of March. We track all of that traffic. We have a food waste to energy pilot program here, where we're not sending food to a land waste, but to a facility where it could be converted and we capture the methane. Our recycling has improved. We recycle an average 6 tons of waste each month. And then I love our Grit Garden. You all know about the Grit Garden. That's producing 2,500 pounds of food last year for use by our students for our food pantry. We have many students who experience food insecurity, and this year the goal is 5,000 pounds of food. I just want to end with a personal comment of encouragement to all of you who are interested in sustainability and are working on sustainability. The planet is fragile. My former thesis advisor at MIT, who died at the tender age of 52, from colon cancer. He was a statistician and a Soviet military specialist. And before he died, he wrote a book out in Massachusetts called The End of the Wild. And I remember reading that book, 20 years ago, and just weeping and thinking, it's over, I should just give up, there's nothing we can do. And so I want to encourage all of you who are eco-warriors or lovers of the earth to never lose heart. I'm reading this book by Thich Nhat Hanh, my guru, the Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. And I just want to read a passage from here. This is co-written with a nun, Sister True Dedication. And these are actually her words because she puts in her words after Thich Nhat Hanh's words. She says, "Cultivating reverence for the simple wonders of life is, in our times, a powerful act of resistance. Choosing to step outside to open our eyes, ears, and hearts to the presence of this beautiful planet takes courage and freedom. Society has conditioned us against it." And so I encourage all of us who care about this planet and sustainability every day, walk barefoot on the grass, look at the blue sky. In literature, if you read War and Peace, the sky is a very powerful symbol, especially at the moment of death. And so that's what we need to do, to say our own prayers in nature, to renew our own energy and our own strength and our own goodwill and our own compassion, because not everybody understands it. We're a long ways away and we only have this one planet. So again, thank you. Please have a wonderful session today. Thank you for coming to UVU.
Thank you, President. And I apologize for disrupting the flow. I just wanted to make one more parking announcement. It wouldn't be an event without some kind of hiccup. So thank you for your patience. I just wanted to remind you that the dedicated parking in this parking lot up here in M26, there are designated spots. If you are not in one of those designated spots, come talk to me and I can direct you where you might be able to find parking, but we don't want you to get tickets, so appreciate that. Sorry. Thanks, Tayler.
All good. It's a much-needed announcement. Hello, it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Danielle Rourke. So Danielle is a Dell Technologies senior high education strategist and brings extensive leadership and technology skills, having worked in a variety of disciplines and industries. Prior to joining Dell Technologies, she served as an associate director of information technology at the University of Colorado, Boulder. In this capacity, she championed new and innovative methods of utilizing technology to make education more accessible to underserved student populations. A technologist and analyst at heart, Danielle's true passion is helping broker technology solutions to help students, staff, and faculty across the globe engage more fully in the power of education. She has a passion for environmental sustainability, and as such, in her free time, she enjoys volunteering with Dell Technologies Planet Employee Resource Group on things like recycling drives for e-waste and other conservation activities in Colorado. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Danielle Rourke.
I feel like I have a lot to follow between those two speeches. So thank you all so much. Please pardon me while I get the computer set up. Really appreciate all of you welcoming and focusing on sustainability. Actually having Utah Valley University and any educational institution focus on the importance of sustainability is vital for the future of the planet, as I'm sure that you all know. So thank you for your patience. Just wanted to talk a little bit about myself as far as who I am and why I'm talking to you. I am an education strategist. Is it good? Is it? Yeah? Okay. Obviously, as you heard, my name is Danielle Rourke. I'm an education strategist for Dell. We have a small but mighty team of us who all formerly worked in education in some form or fashion. You heard I used to be an IT director at University of Colorado Boulder, where we were very concerned with sustainability and making sure that we were meeting the needs of our faculty, staff, and students, as well as the community that we were in. So thank you all for allowing me to be here today to speak with you. I by no means think that I am an expert in sustainability or what we need to do to save the planet. I am just trying to do my little part. So I appreciate all of you being here trying to do your little part as well. Something to think about is that decisions today help mitigate those future impacts. I think we can all acknowledge that that is a very true statement, and technology can help pave the way for that. I am very proud to work for a company like Dell Technologies that has led in sustainability for decades with innovations, new products, and new approaches to the way that we manufacture our products and the way that we offer products to our customers. So I'd like to share just a little bit of that story with you all today. I am fully okay with this being an interactive session, though, so if you have questions, if you want to clap or cheer or boo or hiss or whatever, feel free. That's okay. Thank you. But I really do appreciate the time that you all are allowing me to stand up here. The size of our company isn't the only thing that's grown since Michael Dell started it in his dorm room in 1984. Our purpose to create technologies that promote human progress is really our main driving mission and goal. It's part of who we are, and we also reflect that in the sustainability work that we do. Our strategy is that purpose in action and demonstrates how we're delivering the positive impact for the globe in the work that we do. It is great to talk about the work that we do, the things that we offer, the ways that we're innovating our products, but you have to kind of start with those time-bound and measurable goals. We also want to make sure that it's very apparent that this is important for all businesses, not just technology. And these goals are things that we are striving to not only do ourselves, but also help those within our industry achieve. What these data points tell us is that the need for technology and solutions is incredibly important, and it will only continue to get important as our resources get more scarce. Businesses work with technology partners that actually have that as one of their core goals and one of their core missions in creating those impactful innovations. So we are part of a very strong group of technology industries as well as other companies that our main commitment to contributing value to our stakeholders comes through within sustainability as well. We are very, very focused on that. We want to reduce emissions not only across our own company, but also across the planet, and helping those who use our products also reduce their footprint on the environment. We talked a little bit about how the demand for resources exceeds the supply that we currently have. So how do we get better about making sure that what we are creating and what we are putting out in the world is actually using those resources responsibly? And we wouldn't be here today without the people that make our products. So that is also one of our main focuses in our environmental strategy. How do we make sure that the environments that our people are working in are safe and sustainable as well? A lot of data. I'm not going to read through all of this. I'm sure all of you can see all of the numbers. But I did want to talk a little bit about two of our most ambitious goals for climate action and promote circular economy, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We will achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions across scope 1, 2, and 3 by 2050. That is an goal and is noted in all of our sustainability materials. It is also a driving factor for any new product designs that we offer. By 2030, for every buys, we will reuse or recycle an equivalent product. Also, 100% of our packaging and more than half of our product content will be made from recyclable or renewable material. And thank you. To me, that's one of the most important goals because 2030 is not that far away. And so we do have a lot of work to do. And it is incredibly important for us. And we appreciate all of the help that we get from our customers as well, giving us feedback, telling us how important these innovations are so that we can continue to focus on them in our work. I touch a little bit on that goal of achieving net zero emissions on greenhouse gases, but I wanted to share a little bit more details on that. So we have developed those 2030 targets, like those are validated by the Science Based Targets Initiative, or BTI, if you're familiar. Over the course of this decade, we are committing to cut our scopes 1 and 2 emissions by 50%. Including working to deliver 100% renewable electricity across our global facilities by 2040, which again, 2040 is not that far away. So I am incredibly proud to work for a company that has drawn that line in the sand. Our two most significant Scope 3 categories, purchased goods and services and use of sold products, are an increased focus and have actions that we are trying to pursue across our global supply chain. The reason why it's important to address that is because you can see here on this chart, Scope 1 and Scope 2 are those yellow and green slices of the pie, and those are our direct footprints, the emissions that we generate directly or that are associated with our electricity use, and we are trying to focus on that. That's why we want to make all of our global facilities by 2040 using only renewable energy sources. But if you saw the green slice and the yellow slice, those are not necessarily the biggest slices of that pie. The dark blue and the light blue are our Scope 3 slices. Those include our supply chain and the use of our products. So everybody that has a Dell device and is using a laptop like this one, all of that contributes to that Scope 3 goal that we want to try to help reduce. And we can do that by designing products and services that can reduce that on an individual client basis. We must engage with our supply chain partners and improve the energy and processing efficiency of our products in order to do that. One of the ways that we are trying to improve this is by really accelerating our position in the circular economy with our products and with our services. So if you're not familiar with it, actually, show of hands, who knows the circular economy or has talked about it? Or, okay, excellent. excellent. Yeah, quite a few. Excellent. That is really great. For those of you that aren't, it's totally okay. It is more than just recycling 2.0. Little bit more detailed than that. It is a different way of looking at how you create value. So rather than creating things and using them and then disposing of them over and over and over again, how can we make sure that what we're creating stays in the life cycle for longer and also has ways to be reintroduced back into that circular economy when it does finally reach its end of life? It does play a major role in contributing to reduced emissions and environmental impacts. In 2021, just a quick stat here for you, 57 million tons of e-waste was generated worldwide. So that does make it the fastest growing domestic waste stream. And only 17.4% of it is being recycled. Global technology leader, we recognize this is something that needs to be addressed, and we need to make sure that the products that we are offering out into the world are actually sustainable and contributing positively to that circular economy rather than ending up in landfills. So I want to, does it say there's an issue? Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
So for the last 2 Earth days, we've partnered with Leadhouse City, Mountain Tech, Hutchings Museum, and we have collected and recycled almost 20,000 tonnes of waste.
Woo! That's amazing.
That are high functioning and high performing have been brought back and issued to students in Utah, and that has probably exceeded 1,500 so far, with all other distribution at the end of the year.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's do one more round of applause, because it is efforts like that that truly make a difference. Because yes, myself, my colleague Adam, Sam, I think is there in the group, we work for this major corporation that is trying to make these differences in sustainability, but we can't do it without that local support and without that local level guidance. So thank you so much for all of that. Trying to see if this video... Let me see if it'll play. If it won't, no worries. I can definitely send the link out later. It's just talking a little bit about, you kind of see there some of the components, some of the materials that actually go into making a computer, and how we are trying to reduce the usage of new materials and reintroduce those into that circular economy. We're just going to go on. I will share the video later. But we do know that innovation in design is one of the key starting points to actually accelerating that circular economy. So we do consider sustainability at every step of the process. We try to make all of our machines more durable so that they last longer and can survive some of those drops into the ground that we all make, even though we say we don't. IT people in the room, you didn't hear that. Nobody ever drops their computer. We also try to make them easier to repair and refurbish. And I actually have a story towards the end that shows some of the work that we're doing and some of the innovation that we're doing in that regard. The dematerializing effort is also incredibly important because we want to try to simplify our product design, use less components and less materials to actually help reduce the initial amount of components that we are putting into those electronic devices. It's always good to put less materials in if you're trying to save them in the long run. It does go beyond products, though. You see up there the slide for business model. We do actually have different services. So we did a study with Forrester, and it showed that many customers are actually looking more towards infrastructure and products as a service, not only for potential cost savings and resource easing. I know everybody is struggling with their workforce right now, but many of the customers also indicated that those as-a-service offerings were beneficial to their environmental and sustainability goals as well. If they're not responsible for purchasing all of these products over and over and over again, then they can confidently say that they are contributing and that they are trying to make sure that those components get recycled responsibly and back with vendors. I also wanted to share a couple of more stats around just some of the ways that we use those materials and that we do try to recycle materials. The use of reclaimed carbon fiber was a first for the industry in 2017. We actually took what was left over from the aerospace industry and incorporated it into new products as a polycarbonate. We innovated again in 2020 by actually taking some of the chopped carbon fiber and replacing a layer of fiberglass in the lids of our computers with that chopped carbon fiber, actually reducing 3.4 million pounds of carbon fiber from ending up in the landfills. So that is incredibly important to us. We also are firm believers in a closed loop process. We were the first industry to use returned products in our own recycling stream today back into new parts for computers. And that is also a huge business benefit. That's something that we always get questions about. Yes, this is great that we're trying to do this for the planet, but isn't it more expensive? Doesn't it have a business cost? Actually, we were able to find business cost savings because we were taking some of these materials, we were reusing components. We didn't have to consistently source out for new materials to go into those products. This process has kind of overtaken the use of regular post-consumer recycled products in terms of the value. We do still use both, but we're trying to go more on the end of having those recycled plastics that actually come from the original computer parts. We have some product lines to throw some labels out here at you, but Optiplex, Precision, and Latitude contain between 8 and 50% of recycled plastics, and we continue to look for ways to increase that. And then the last innovation there on the right-hand side that I wanted to highlight is our interest and our investment in sustainable, renewable materials of bioplastics. The Latitude 5000 series, which is actually what this is, was the first PC in the industry to use bioplastics in its design. It uses tall oil, a waste byproduct of the paper making process. That oil can substitute for petroleum-based oil when making plastics. The lids for these laptops were made from a mix of 21% renewable bioplastics, 30% recycled plastics that we were just talking about, and 20% reclaimed carbon fiber, taking the total recycled and renewable material in the lid to 71%. Again, something that we're extraordinarily proud of. Thank you. So we've talked a little bit about how we use recycled materials, some of the innovations that we are trying to implement within our processes and make those gains towards a more circular economy. I wanted to share a little bit of our approach to recovery and recycling solutions, which is another group of services actually that we do provide. From the beginning of our product lifecycle to the end, recycling is always a part of our process, and we want to make it easier for our customers, whether they are large universities or whether they are an individual customer buying a laptop or a gaming PC for their kid. I'm totally kid, not me. But we want to make sure that all of those products are available and that you have those options to do the recycling. So first and foremost, we concentrate on refurbishing system and recycling parts. Refurbishing those systems returns the value to customers to fund future technology and keeping systems that still have life in the economy. So some examples of that, we work with tons of schools that will actually ship us their computers for us to refurbish, clean up, and then they will put them into different labs, or they will use them for student laptop programs that go out to help perhaps underserved students who can't purchase their own. So making sure that we're getting as much possible life out of those devices as we really can. Also, making sure that we're extracting parts that reduces the need to make new parts or go source new parts, especially minerals, while keeping the lifespan of those products intact. We also try to, again, help with that circular economy, reduce the need for virgin materials. There are so many challenges today around mining and mining practices, and anything that we can do to reduce the amount of mining that we have to do or have to generate in order to make our products is an incredible win for us, and we are constantly looking for innovations to change that. So we talked bit about e-waste and all of the efforts to clean it up. Thank you again to the city and the county for doing that. We mentioned that the world generated 57 million tons of e-waste in 2021. So just to wrap our brains around that, it's kind of like talking about billions of dollars. It's really hard to imagine what billions of dollars feels like in your hands. But 57 million tons is equivalent in weight to all of the commercial aircraft that has ever been built throughout history. That's a lot. I took a plane here from Colorado, and when I was reviewing my slides and my stats, I was like, I've been on a lot of planes in my lifetime, and I'm sure you all have too. And if you think about the entirety of every plane built throughout history, that is an incredible amount of waste that is generated, and that's just from the technology pieces and components. What's worse, we talked about how only 17% of that is actually recycled. And again, from a business perspective, that is actually a conservative estimate of approximately $57 billion worth of recoverable materials that is just going to waste. So not only is it important for the environment, but it's important from a business perspective. That's $57 billion worth of money that's just going nowhere. And that is a huge amount. It's larger than the GDP of some countries. So if you think about it from a business perspective, there are also many, many reasons why sustainability is important for any business to consider. We do know, kind of like we mentioned earlier, that it only works if we're able to get those products back. If somebody just takes it and chucks it in the dumpster, we're not going to get those products back to be able to extract those materials or recycle them or even possibly refurbish those laptops or desktops or servers into something else. And that's one of the reasons that Dell's provided recycling solutions for over 25 years. And it's incredibly important to us. It's one of our major arms and a part of our business. We have made it easier, or at least we hope we've made it easier for customers to recycle. We have offered a variety of secure services, because that is also something that you do want to think about. You can't just say, okay, here, take all of our laptops with all of this very secure data on them. We're not going to wipe it, et cetera. That is something that we do as a part of our recycling services, is make sure that we wipe any sensitive data. We wipe the hard drives before we disassemble them, before we refurbish them, before we take them apart or get them back into that circular economy stream. We do have business services for both Dell and non-Dell branded equipment. So businesses, regular consumers, individuals, we have those recycling services. And a lot of times people say, well, I have an old Asus or an old HP or et cetera, and you probably don't take those. We do. We believe it's important to recycle all of those components, no matter what brand it is. So we are very, very adamant about making sure that we're reducing e-waste in all forms, not just Dell Technologies forms. We talked a little bit about how we want to make sure that the people behind our products are taken care of. To us, environmentalism means more than just sustainability. It's absolutely sustainability. It's absolutely the way that we create our products, recycle our products, the way we treat the earth, but it's also the way we treat the people who create those products and help enable us to have a business and help enable all of you to have the technology that you need. So it is important to us, and we do actually have a set of standards to work with us as a part of the Dell Technologies ecosystem. I wanted to list a couple of those, so please forgive me for just reading directly. But I wanted to make sure that I capture all of these. As a condition of doing business with us, we expect not only ourselves and our partners, but also our material suppliers to engage in those responsible practices. And those include upholding the human rights and dignity of all workers, direct and temporary, managing in the environmental impact of operations through reporting, pollution reduction, and the use of natural resources, ensuring minerals incorporated into components for products are mined responsibly and safely, ensuring our business is managed ethically, safeguarding workers in our supply chain by minimizing the incidence of injury and illness, and establishing robust management systems to ensure compliance with legal requirements and mitigate risks. These are all, thank you. These are all really, really important to us, and it is one of the reasons why sometimes we do stop working with certain suppliers. Sometimes we do have to pivot and find new suppliers, new vendors, new partners, perhaps even new countries to be able to get our supply chain from in order to make sure that we are upholding our ethics in this particular area. We are committed to developing comprehensive standards across our supply chain, not just those within our direct facilities, and it includes upholding the human rights and safeguarding workers that we mentioned. We do hold ourselves accountable through Dell's Code of Conduct. That's actually available out on our website. If you just do a Google search for Dell's Code of Conduct, you can actually see that, and it will have links out there to a lot of the reports that we issue on an annual basis as well with relevant data. We do have supplier principles that we make all of our suppliers and partners and vendors agree to before they can actually do business with us. And we do have a membership in the Responsible Business Alliance as well. So just to summarize, I think that we've really established that technology can play an important role in exactly what we're all trying to do here today. Improve sustainability, protect our planet, make sure that our children and our grandchildren have some of that grass to touch that President Tuminez was talking about, and making sure that everything is as sustainable as we possibly can in this modern day and age. So again, just to summarize some of these 4 aspects that are really, really important to us, from the materials used in our products, the amount of energy that they consume, and how they're delivered to you. We're also looking at different modes of transportation. We're trying to really reduce the carbon footprint of what you need to run your organizations, your businesses, your education outcomes. We also know that data center demand is at an all-time high, and I do want to share this stat with you because I also thought this was really fascinating. Today, data centers represent 1% to 2% of global electricity consumption, but it's estimated from the International Energy Agency that by 2025, so like 2 years from now, data centers will consume a fifth or 20% of the world's power supply. So that's huge. That's a huge jump from 1% to 2% today to 20% in less than 2 years. And granted, these are estimates, but when you start to think about AI and machine learning and everything that's going on, who's used ChatGPT? Raise of hands. Yeah. Everybody. So when you see all of these innovations that are coming about, all of those innovations are powered by data centers and powered by the servers that are in those data centers. So it's imperative that we actually figure out ways that we can reduce the consumption of those data center models and the devices that are powering those new innovations. We've already covered many of the ways that Dell focuses on recycling and refurbishment and sustainable recovery, responsible, secure recovery. So I'm not going to go into that too much more, but we do have those as-a-service offerings as well. You may see myself or other Dell colleagues talk about as-a-service, infrastructure as a service, product as a service, or Apex. We actually have new business models that we're developing that say, okay, how can we make sure that customers are only paying for what they need, they're only utilizing and having energy consumption for the products that they need at any given time, and we're not overloading them, but we're also giving them the ability to grow. So those are incredibly important aspects in addition to everything that we're trying to do with our physical product offerings. I did want to share before I leave that any product that's out there that you can get from Dell, that's Dell branded, do have product carbon footprint documents. And you can actually go out to dell.com/PCF, product carbon footprints, to get that information, because those reports have what is a scope 3 category 1 emission, how much power they consume, and we actually use an averaging system as opposed to just going by whatever the lowest specs are to make the numbers look better. So at any point, if if you want to go out and pull those PCF documents, you can, and that is fully available. We have also established services to help you generate STAR reports, to help if you have sustainability goals at a university or at an organization, we can pull a report of everything that you've purchased from us in the past X amount of time and give you what that energy consumption is of those products that then you can use for your reporting capabilities. We also do have a white paper where we spent a lot of time focusing on our methodology for calculating our PCFs, which I can share with you at any time if you'd like. So I hinted at this earlier. I wanted to close out with this concept that we will not necessarily be manufacturing and putting out there and selling, but what we do is we try to create these innovative pilot products that really push the boundaries of how far can we go, what can we do, and if we were in an ideal scenario, this is what we would do. How can we apply that to our realistic scenarios? So we have Concept Luna. Has anybody heard of that? Seen any articles? No? Okay. No, that's great. I get to ramble at you for a little bit more. So it is a proof of concept that was developed in collaboration with Intel, and it explores revolutionary design ideas to say how can we make a laptop more repairable, more reusable, and so that you don't have to get rid of it whenever the components are done. It was created to test what could be possible, and if all the design ideas within Concept Luna were realized, we could expect to see an estimated 50% reduction in the overall carbon footprint. It's a strong example of how we're exploring new ways to dramatically accelerate progress against those goals, especially you may also hear us talk about moonshot goals. Those are our goals for 2030 and beyond that we really want to improve inclusion and diversity. We want to improve our sustainability. This is one of the ways that we are getting there, and one of the ways that we are actually putting our money where our mouth is in trying to develop new ways to innovate products. Future iterations of this and others that follow are how we're going to build on that existing circular economy and really try to be a leader in the technology space when it comes to environmentalism, sustainability, and protecting the planet, the one planet that we all have until someone decides to make a spaceship that actually works and goes to find us another planet. But I still like this one. I think I'd stay. Really appreciate the information that you've allowed me to share, sharing some of our stories, some of the ways that we focus on sustainability and ethical responsibility for the planet that we're on. If there's any questions, please feel free to let me know. I appreciate your time, and thank you all for the efforts that you're doing and actually focusing on the Sustainability Summit here at UVU. Thank you. Yeah, we could do it. Are there any questions? Yeah. Or comments even, sharing stories. President Tuminez.
Question just on the, if there's 57 billion of that recyclable, uncaptured material, you would think the entrepreneurial ecosystem would be exploding to address it. What is preventing that? How difficult is it to actually capture and make money off of that? 57 billion.
Yeah, and this is a little bit more of Danielle's personal opinion, not necessarily an official Dell message, but it's hard. It's difficult. You have to be able to collect things, first of all, have people bring that material back in, collect it in a central space, but then you also have to have the facilities, the manufacturing capabilities that you can bust apart those devices and actually take out the materials, store them safely, and then have some kind of a market to be able to offer them. So I truly believe that it's because it's not an easy process. Granted, there have been entrepreneurs out there that have made very difficult processes much easier, and those are incredibly successful. But I do believe that it is something that we're going to see moving forward in the future as events like this happen, as more people are committed to making these changes. We've seen fantastic strides in research around the reuse of materials and the reduction of materials that it takes to build components. And truly, I feel like it's the students. So it's students in the room? Anybody? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah.
Government. The other really critical pillar there is government, because
yes.
government has the ability to incentivize So if you look at chip making now returning to the U.S. and the
Yes.
government incentivizing it in a big way.
Yes.
And I think corporations need to lobby for some of this. I used to work in government affairs at Microsoft.
Yes.
So I understand the lobbying power of very large companies. And you've got to get the government. I mean, students like Isaac, will take a long time for Isaac to be CEO. Maybe next year.
Yeah, next year. I'll check back in with you.
See if there's going to be hope in terms of human ability to address these things, given the constraints of our psychology and our ability to actually collaborate. Because I mentioned that book earlier by my former thesis advisor, who's a statistician, and his argument was just running up against time. He's a statistician. I mean, the world is going to look the end of the wild. That's what was so like depression-inducing, is because we're up against time. And so I think, no, I do appreciate this. I appreciate what corporations can do that is really good and actually very impactful in a short amount of time. But I think the government aspect of this and the entrepreneurship aspect of addressing e-waste that's going to double, as you said, by 2025. So that's double the number of planes, the weight of planes since the beginning of history. It's pretty daunting.
Yes, definitely.
Experience with our e-waste. Hi everyone, I'm Vanessa Perez from Texas Instruments, and I mentioned the great collaboration we'd had over the last couple of years for Earth Day in Lehigh, collecting e-waste from our community and responsibly recycling that. And our prime partner was Computers for Kids, based out of Idaho, and their mission is really to repurpose computers and get them into the hands of kids. Then they have a commercial arm that scrubs the data securely, but their non-profit arm is using the recyclables to fund their non-profit. So disheartened and so sad that we're not able to do it this Earth Day, because the value of the recycled products has plummeted so dramatically that it would cost them 20 grand to come down here, and they're making, instead of, $25 a pound on the plastics, it's now like $1. So there is value in the e-waste if we can find ways to actually manage it and harness it. I think the plastics, we haven't worked out how to manage plastic waste, and it's a passion of mine, but there's a lot of plastic in the e-waste. The metals are precious, but demanufacturing and capturing all of that is such labour intensive, and we're trying to do it here in America and not, send it all overseas and dump it on these poor small islands. But there is value in it, and I think we really do need to come together and find the ways of being able to manage it more responsibly and more successfully and reuse those precious metals instead of mining them. So I think plastic, solving plastic waste and how do we recycle the most of that e-waste as plastic, how do we manage that better and make this $57 billion market more valuable? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much to everyone. Really appreciate your time. That is officially the shepherd's hook that's pulling me off stage. So let's keep the conversation going, though. We are here today to learn about sustainability, about what others are doing in the industry and the efforts. So let's continue to talk, and that's going to be what drives us forward. Thank you all so much.
Just a brief comment. We have our next session will start at 10 o'clock. There are two sessions. There's a session in here that is, government opportunities to leverage citizen engagement. And then in room 405, which is just down the hall after the breakfast room, if you were in the breakfast room, that session will be learning sustainability at UVU. So you can decide which way you would like to participate. Also, please come stop into this room next to me, which is room 403, and visit the information tables. We have our partners from the Utah Valley Earth Forum and from Conserve Utah Valley, as well as an interactive display by some of our grounds crew that will be really interesting and also will be featured later on during the tour. So take a break, Stretch your legs. Restrooms are just across the hall, and water and bottle filling stations also just across the way. Thank you.